So we are going to be talking about Shadow of Mogg. And before that was the wrong button. Before we tell you what it's about, let me give you a little history of Shadow of Mogg. I don't know its history. No, so I got an email back in April saying, "Hey, can you check out my game, Shadow of Mogg?" I was like, ignore, ignore, ignore. Not intentionally. That's just when I started all my moving stuff, you know? So I pretty much ignored everybody, including all social media. But to be fair, I don't even remember seeing the email back then. It was marked as read. I almost just deleted it like 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago. I was like, what is this? So I did read it. I just don't remember reading it. But I was like, well, we've got Grimm coming on next week. So what's the point of starting a whole new series segment before just to have it cut right after the first episode? So let's talk about this indie game. Why not, right?
Yep.
So,
and Charlotte, spoilers.
Yes, that's exactly so. Okay, Charlotte. I've already received multiple, one public, well, okay, two, but one public, one private message about reviewing this game. Yes, my understanding is that's who it's about. I don't know. I'm an American. I don't care about British politics. I don't like it when the Brits talk about American politics. I'm not going to talk about British politics. I have opinions on Brexit, especially after living in Germany for 10 years, but I'm not going to tell you one way or the other what I feel about it because it's not my place. That's for the Brits. Now, whether this is one of the things we're going to try to talk about with this is this parody? Is this satire, or is this somebody actually trying to make some sort of political statement? I don't know.
I do. I finally figured it out. I tuned this in. And I'm gonna walk you through my thought process as well, because I did not research the creator, so I'm reading the book. And when reading the book, starting from page 1, going to the last page, it was a roller coaster ride for me. Is this SJW garbage? Is this satire? Is this just a joke? And I kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But by the time I got to the end, I realized that the person who wrote this has SJW leanings, but they're not true war.
Don't spoil the end.
Fascists, because fascists aren't funny. There's lots of things in this book that are genuinely funny. Some of it light, some of it dark. And social justice warriors are allergic to dark humor.
It's like, and being funny in general.
Crosses and kryptonite. So I have come to the conclusion that this is a game. It is playable, but it is satire and political commentary, because it is made to be just painful. It is made to be painful to play. It is. That's just how it is. It is, well, we're going to get into it, but all of the rules about it make it harder to stand. I mean, it's easy enough to play. The rules themselves, the basic rules, they're easy enough, but the gameplay mechanics make it painful to do, and that's the point.
All right, well, we'll start going through this here in a moment, and at the end, I'm gonna have a little commentary about the person who made the game, because I didn't know it right away, but I have a little minor. Can't see my smidgen fingers again. Little minor history with the creator of this game when he worked for Modifius Entertainment.
Okay.
So one of the reasons I despised Modifius Entertainment is because of this guy. And so we'll save that tease for the end. All right, so we're talking about Shadow of Mogg. And one of the things I don't actually, let me move this screen over. Nope, can't do that. One of the things I don't like about this PDF is that it's paired pages like that, and I can't change that.
I can't change that either. I tried to, it didn't work out.
So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but to give you an idea what it's about, I'm going to read a little bit here. Now, to be fair, apparently Heathen Dog has read more of this than I have. I have skimmed through it. I did get locked onto a couple of areas that were interesting, some good, some bad, but I don't know it fully. What I can tell you is that the person who creates this game, Panny, states that the game is part old school Dungeons and Dragons, part Year Zero engine, and part powered by the apocalypse. All of which are things that I have experience with, and I will point out where I see those, and I've actually seen those influences in the game. All right. So Shadow of Mogg is a post-apocalyptic role-playing game set in the tunnels of the London Underground, following a catastrophic occurrence known as the event, which is never described what the event is. Because
no, it is purposefully stated in the game to never describe the event.
The first rule about the event is don't talk about the
event. It just happened.
Right. The inhabitants of the tunnels have different opinions, memories, and experiences as to what the event was. What is known as, what the event was. That was a period there. I probably should read. Yep. What is known is that life persists within the London Underground now. The survivors have brought their divisions, factionalism, and petty grievances to this new world, exacerbated by the isolation, fear, sudden close quarters, lack of food and comforts, and the ever-present fear of things twitching in the corner of their eyes. One would hope the people can band together in the Blitz spirit. One could be wrong. So, all right. So, again, I'm not going to read the whole thing. This book is kind of long, and we're doing this all in one segment, but you get the idea of what the game's about. You're playing Underground. It's kind of what's like Metro. Is that the computer game that mimics something like this? Although that was Russian?
The Underground is the London subway system. Yeah.
No, I get that, but I think it's just to relate it to something. Isolation. So, what is this game about?
You don't have to worry about this. This is just like how to role play, basically. Now this game is a little different where there's no game master, dungeon master. There is a speaker. Now the first thing I want you to look at is something that is incorrect about the game.
Yes.
Right under what's this role playing lark all about? So go up a page. It says Shadow of Mogg is a role-playing game played with 3 or more players. One player takes the role of the speaker who has control of the world. This is a lie. This is the first lie of the game. You need 4 people to play this game. One person is the speaker, which is like the game master. The speaker doesn't have a player. That's made clear later on. The speaker presents the world in the underground, and then reacts to the player's actions using NPCs. Now, the reason you need at least 4 people, one of them being the speaker, is because if you have 3 people and one of them is the speaker, and this is a completely democratic game, you cannot take any action unless there's a majority vote. Guess what? With 2 people, everyone has to agree or nothing happens. With 3 people, you just need a simple majority. So you need 4 people.
And you are spoiler crazy today.
I'm just saying that this lie in the very, very beginning, this is the only lie I found in this thing where it's not explicitly said in the red text that this is a lie. Is you need 4 people, one of them being the speaker.
It does say to play, you narrate what you want your character to do, and the speaker responds with how the world reacts based on the current fictional situation. I like how he had to put in fictional there. Fictional situation and the mechanics of the game.
Right. So this game is propelled forward by the player's decisions, but the speaker interjects situations.
And Hellgate London is a good example. God, I forgot about that game. That's a kind of an older one. That game was wrought with so many problems. But yeah, that would be a good example. So the themes, I'm again not going to read all of this. We have past videos on safety tools, but basically it puts right in here, right at the beginning, to use safety tools. Well, you know what? You can't see it, but I'm giving you the middle finger right now. Because I don't use safety tools in my game. If never, I will never use safety. If you find a game to be unsafe, you don't have the mental capacity of a chimpanzee.
Here's the problem in my mind. I have a dichotomy here. I hate X cards. I hate the idea of them. This is why you don't role play with children or animals. Okay. But in this game, the X card only exacerbates the satire.
In that regard, if you are correct, yes, I find that hilarious. And I will give him props and a pat on the back for even kind of trolling me on that one. I absolutely would. I wish you could see my face because I'm smiling. Because if Heathen Dog is right, I take the more cynical route. But if Heathen Dog is right, I love it. If he's wrong, then fuck you. 2 middle fingers. No.
Okay.
Lines and veils are just another type of safety tool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Lines and veils basically are before the game starts. They're if a player has known problems or problems they know about that trigger them, then that will be given to the speaker in the form of a line. That means this cannot be done in the game. And veils are things that we agree have to happen, but we don't want them described. So there'll be a fade to black situation. It's like in 1930s, 40s film noir, where sex was always a fade to black situation. You know, the lovers would get into bed, start kissing, they would fade to black, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have no problem with, because there's a lot of stuff you don't want to explicitly state.
First of all, every table is going to be different. Some tables,
different. I get it.
Some tables will want to do that. Some tables are to talk about that. Fine, if that's your fetish, go for it. Some tables are going to say no. There are certain aspects you just don't take out of a role playing game, in my opinion, and I will argue with anybody on that. You don't take out combat. You don't take out descriptions of the actual violence unless you're playing with kids. Like. You just can't do that. It's like, well, I don't want to know how gory it is. I just want to know that I took numbers off them. Then go play a computer game. Tell us what the speaker should do here. It's basically general game master stuff.
Well, there are a couple of important points about this game and the speaker. The speaker's job is to keep slowly intensifying the dread and what's the word? Hopelessness of the situations. Very slowly ramping it up throughout the game session and or campaign. Okay, but the way I read this game, it's more like paranoia than not. So a game campaign is kind of like a big shot in the dark. It's more like 1 to 3 sessions is what this is going to be until all your people are dead or insane or whatever. You know, so that's how it is. But the speaker's job is to slowly ramp up the horror and hopelessness of the situation throughout the game.
I actually want to put this up there because I think that is the crux of this game. Yes, that absolutely. When we get farther on in the book, I saw a paragraph or something in there that actually says something very similar to this, or not directly, but you get what I'm saying.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, Heathen Dog mentioned that the party. This is like, hey, play your characters. Now this is where things get interesting. There's a hint of it right here. Explore the limits and failings of democratic institutions via the game's voting system.
Yes, okay. And this is where the satire really shows its head. I alluded to it earlier. This game is based on a 100% non-representative democracy, which means any action that involves directly or maybe even indirectly the entire group must vote on it.
I'm going to mute him if he keeps spoiling. We're going to get to that chapter. Stop telling people that. Let them feel it. It's good. We're going to spend time on that when we get there.
All right.
He is right, though. That it is the most prevalent feature of this game. Player characters, so they're real people. Work out your party-led goal, blah, blah, blah. So the party-led goals can be important. Ask yourself who you are, blah, blah, blah. There's a vote on party laws. Notice that's capitalized.
Yes.
There's a reason for that. Ensure all decisions are voted on. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Literally everything.
Yep.
That doesn't involve just you.
And even that probably has to be voted on, that it's allowed to be just you.
Well, no, I mean, if you want to look right or look left, you don't have to vote on that. But if you want to use party resources, have some food, have an aspirin, that's party resources. Got to vote on it.
Fair.
It's crazy.
All right. So, anyway, have a copy of the book. He said, typical player stuff. Now, the body stats, I am actually not going to spend a lot of time in these stats. I don't think that they're necessary right now.
No.
I will just say this. If you know anything about the Year Zero engine, Forbidden Lands, Mutant Year Zero, Coriolis, we've got a bunch of videos on those. This is very similar to that. There's a small twist to it that's more like Degenesis or it's got a Powered by the Apocalypse feel, but It's basically four. Was it four skills per attribute or whatever the hell it is? You roll d6s. We'll get to that. But it's very Year Zero Engine-esque. Character creation. I love number 1, and I'll let Heathen Dog go on this if he wants. I love number 1.
You must randomly determine your character class. You do not get to choose ever.
Don't spoil this, but I want to ask for anybody looking at the page, look at that last one, 6666. Can anybody figure out what that is? In the meantime, Heathen Dog, please go on.
I won't spoil it until someone either says it in chat or
we scroll to the page.
Yes. Each character class has its own strengths and weaknesses. Each character class has a specific affiliation with someone else in the group.
Yes. Again, very Year Zero Engine-esque. Now, this is a little bit more specific than Year Zero does.
Yeah. It's a little bit more. It's very much more specific. But we will go through a couple of them and give you examples and stuff like that. Your stats and stuff like that for a game like this are not important. Min-maxing is not important.
In fact, to the point. Yeah, and you don't even get to select your skill. It's given to you.
Yes, there's no rolls, nothing.
Or is it 3, 2, 2, 1?
The point of the game is to be frustrated.
Yes. Okay.
All the time, to be frustrated, scared, and exacerbated at your fellow players. That's the point of the game.
Or the speaker, or the world, or
the speaker, or the world, or your lot in life.
We are Siamese, if you please.
He can't read it, apparently.
Chrono Aristocrat.
Yep.
It says Chrono Aristocrat.
Yes, that's what it says.
We are Siamese, if you don't please. Okay, so
demonetize. Stop it. Okay, so
for my bad singing, that's not going to do that.
Yeah, each class brings its own, brings their own, whether they be male or female, it doesn't really matter. You get to choose. Doesn't matter. I mean, there can be a female butcher, male butcher. I'm just going to say they because could be any. Doesn't matter. A butcher will bring meat and a knife. For example, a train driver will maybe bring a whistle. But when you're in the group, these become community property.
Unless voted on differently.
Yeah, which we'll get into later.
Yep.
Now, mates, friends. There are some classes that come with a friend. Like you personally have a friend. Now, your friend can do things without the party having to vote. But if you want to use resources on your friend to say heal a wound or feed them, it has to be voted on by the party, because that comes from party resources. So remember that for later. So you're like having a free other NPC that follows my every wish. That's great, except you're not going to be popular because that your mate is going to absorb resources from the group, and the group isn't going to like that. Personal details. This is all fluff. This is all just you after you rolled your character, put in your stats. Now this is how tall are you? How much do you weigh? Do you smell bad? Do you smell good? Whatever. You get to throw that in there. Party bonds. Every single character class has a specific bond or link to someone else in the party. You get to choose, but the nature of that link is based on the character class you randomly roll. But you get to choose which person that is. Anybody with experience with the Year Zero Engine games will recognize that. Yes. So now we're going to get into classes. All right. As you can see, it goes from 11 to 6,666. Now, the way you roll this is 2d6. Obviously, the lowest you can roll on 2d6 is, if you're simulating percentile dice, is 11. And the highest you can roll is 66. If you roll a 66, you can elect to try and roll again. If you roll another boxcar, then you get 6666 and you get to be the Chrono Aristocrat. Now, let's see in chat if nobody's got it yet. Nope. Nobody's got it yet. Okay, well, that will be number 3. That will be the last one we go over. I would like to look at the Highlander also, or were you going to randomly roll? I wasn't gonna randomly. I was just gonna randomly pick.
Oh no, roll. If you got dice, roll. If not, I can.
don't have any dice in front of me.
Oh, let me grab them. They're right behind me.
Okay, go ahead and roll then.
And I've got year 0 dice. How
And
appropriate,
if you roll quad 6s, man, just shut up.
the chances of that are next to none. So
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna. All right, here we go. I've got a. The hell is that? Is that a 6 or a 1? Damn, year 0 dice. I forget. I think that's a 56.
56. Okay, that is going to be a train driver.
Oh god, what page is that on?
Hell if I know, man. But they're all no, they're not alphabetical. Fuck.
I think they're in order of that.
It's going to be toward the end then.
Now, you might.
I even said train driver in the.
You might think that the art would bother me, but truthfully, it doesn't because I think it fits the framework of the game.
Underground train driver. There we go. It's on page 39.
39, 31. I really wanted to. Oh, yeah, it's in order of the numbers. Oh, good. On the same page as the Highlander. Awesome, because I want to talk about that one.
There you go. Okay. A railroad is like a society. You have to keep building it to make it stand. Okay, so as a train driver, you get train driving as a skill. Awesome. Underground navigation, which since everyone now lives in the underground, great. Union striking. Okay. Speakerphone diction. Okay. No, this makes sense for your old job. Great. Your weapon is a railway spike. And for those of you who don't know what that looks like, Google it. This is the stuff you bring to the table. This is the stuff that is yours, but once you become a party, becomes community property. You get 1 megaphone and a pair of walkie-talkies, which juices energy. Yep. And energy is also a commodity because batteries go out. And 2 heavy-duty torches. Party resources you bring to the table is 1 juice, that's a battery, and 1 scran. Scran is food and water. They're both food and water. Your character question. This is your link to someone else in the party. You go out drinking post shift with someone in the party. Who is it and what do you talk about? You choose someone else in the party that you go out drinking with. It doesn't have to make sense. If no other, if you're a train driver and everyone else is an aristocrat or whatever, doesn't matter. Choose one person. You, for some reason, commonly after shift, go out drinking with this guy. What do you talk about during that time? There you go. You have your character. And
you notice most of the Highlanders can be a little different, but most of them are just general people. If you saw what that list was, and you can, pause it and go back if you're watching on YouTube later and so forth. But most of them.
Goes to Tandalorn.
No, before him. Mar Hawkman actually got it.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yep, so he got it. He wasn't sure though.
That fair. So the Highlander, the one thing that's fun about the Highlander is you may act independently from the party and are not bound by it. A party isn't it; it's an entity. And not bound by its vote, but still regain all the benefits and negatives of being in the party.
Now, the reason being is because you are Scottish.
And Scottish independence.
Scottish independence is important. So this is literally, maybe the Chrono Aristocrat can get away with it too, but mainly the Highlander is the only class in the game that specifically says you can act outside of the 100% democracy that is the party.
Character question. One of the party members is a bit of a weak cunt. Why do you think this? I love it. And then here's the special. There can only be one. He's a Highlander.
Yep.
You must attack
other Highlanders on site. You must. You got to fight them.
Will always attack Highlanders on site. Yep. Highlanders will always attack you on site.
On site.
So
that's funny. Now you don't get any immortality or anything like that. You just get
there can only be one
and independence, but you are forced to fight other Highlanders.
Yeah, that is some Scottish independence for you. You got tabloid journalist, primary school teacher, baker, butcher. But here we go, 6'6". Okay, Whig, 6'6". And now finally the Chrono Aristocrat. There you go, right off the bat, Tom Baker.
Yep.
And the Sid Rat. I want to know how he defines Sid Rat.
It's later.
Oh, does he?
Spatial
Okay.
ignition, dialectic rotor, amplitude traveler.
Oh, okay. Because time and relative dimensions in space, obviously, is Doctor Who,
He's
and I was like,
retarded,
he didn't
yeah.
just do that backward, did he? So
No.
what is the chrono arithmetic? First of all, you have to roll 66 twice. So the way you roll D66, because I didn't realize people didn't know this, but when I was talking with Heathen Dog yesterday, he questioned it, is you just roll 2d6 like you're rolling percentile dice. So let me get some dice that actually
You
have
roll
numbers.
a 2 and a 4, that's 24.
Yep.
You know, obviously you want one to be a different color than the other, so you can call
Yes.
what's tens and what's not. But other than that, it's the same thing as rolling a percentile, except you can't roll below an 11 or above a 66.
Yeah, so the chances of you rolling 266s in a row, some of you mathematicians out there can figure that out, but it's pretty low.
Yeah.
All right. But what do you get for that? You get all these skills. You get the super screwdriver, of course. I mean, not the sonic screwdriver.
No, it's a super screwdriver because the sonic screwdriver, I'm sure, is copywritten.
It's the Fargate, not the star. No. Anyway, the reinforced endoskeleton, regain 1 henshin dash every 10 minutes. So there's your regeneration. And if you die, your body will regenerate into a new form in D6 times 10 minutes. So, all right,
Yeah,
come on back.
You're basically the awesomest character in the game. And you get a mate, a doting Homo sapien follower.
Would you like a jelly
get
baby?
A follower.
Well, there you go. Mar Hockman did it. 1 in 1,296. So anybody who says they rolled this up, just disagree with them. Unless you watched it. No, you didn't.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
Check the dice.
The Sid Rat with TARDIS backward is down in there somewhere. Now, the cool thing is there is a random event where you find the Sid Rat.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Chrono Aristocrat is in your party, they're the only ones with the key. They can now decide to leave or stay. It's up to them. Or they can take everyone with them. They can do that too. It's bigger on the inside.
All right, so the core mechanic, the crux of the game, the whole idea that this was founded upon is that mob rule democracies are stupid. Everything the party does in Shadow of Mogg is voted on by the party and resolved as the party. This is resolved in 2 stages. The vote, where characters vote for the course of action. The resolution, where that action is resolved. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this simply because this is the core concept of the game.
Yes.
We are still in segment 1, Misa. This is where we're talking nicely about stuff. You'll know segment 2, except for my face isn't on here. Just have to go with the crying baby. When the party wants to make a decision, it must be voted on. Even decisions that would have a time constraint, such as a hostile situation, must be voted on. We imagine the party has developed a means to do this quickly and efficiently. If a character is under the age of 18, then he or she cannot vote, but still partake in the resolution. No, I'm not reading that they nonsense. That's not English.
I understand. But there are a couple of character classes that are children.
Yes. Voting decisions may include what direction to travel in. Again, that's poor English also, but hey, let's move on. How to interact with another party or individual. That's right. It isn't just going to be the bard that walks out there and says, I'm going to do this. Like, nope, you got to vote on what's going to happen next. How to spend party resources. Who eats first? Oh, why is that important? Because you might not have enough food.
Exactly. There might not be enough to go around completely. So who gets first dibs?
What activities to do during the Koch phase? That's basically the rest phase.
Yeah.
Whether to take on another party member, whether to fight or flee a dangerous opponent. Like, that's voted on. You might not want to fight, but if the party votes, guess what?
You got to fight.
You're fighting. Now, there's a way you can mess around with that with the dice roll system, but we'll get into that later. And any decision that involves the party and can harm, hinder, or help it in some way. I vote to play something else. Oh, fair enough. I'm going to tell you right now, this game certainly isn't for everybody.
No. It is difficult. It's made to be that way. It's made to be frustrating, but that's the game. As long as you understand that going in, you may have some fun.
All right. I mean, yeah. This is one of those niche games that I could see people playing and actually enjoying it. I really could. It's kind of like the same like Toon in a way. Obviously, it's not cartoonish, but it's something you play, to break the monotony, and or Paranoia to some degree. I mean, Paranoia isn't really meant for years-long campaigns.
No.
So unless somehow you get to Ultraviolet, good luck with that.
Yeah, have fun.
But yeah,
Marhawkman is right. The party has voted to use you as a human shield.
Then you're a human shield.
Vote. That is a legitimate vote.
Yep.
That can happen.
Then you are a human shield.
Yep.
And then it just becomes, how do you spend your dice? And again, we'll get to that later. Once a proposal has been discussed, the vote occurs. The speaker goes to each party member in order and asks him or her what the vote is. This will typically be for or against the proposition. This may also be a vote between multiple options based on context. A player can choose to abstain, but must make this clear. A player can spoil his or her vote by voting nonsensically. It's obviously this person hates Brexit.
This right here is where I made the decision that this has to be satire. When I read this, the fact he used the definition proposition and to where he said spoiling their vote by being nonsensical. Like, okay, this is now satire. I get it now. I get it.
The vote is then counted by the speaker and the result enacted if a majority votes for it. If a proposition is rejected, then another proposition may be made. This must be different from the former proposition, or the situation must have changed in some way. Again, that's a very similar rule to pushing, or not pushing, for rerolls in Year Zero Engine. If the proposition is for a party law, it is written in the party manifesto.
Yes,
each manifesto
party can make general laws that must be followed by all party members.
Which is fun because he's going to explain one of them, or one or two of them coming up here. So I don't want to spoil it, but some propositions, for example, voting to feed a starving beggar can be resolved by spending party scran or whatever else is appropriate. Votes that involve action, risk, and consequence, such as navigating the tunnels, fighting a pack of Moggs, avoiding dangerous obstacles, or convincing a party of Her Majesty's soldiers to let you pass safely, are resolved via the party resolution roll. These rules govern how all significant actions and scenes in the games are resolved. This rule should only be made for game situations that warrant a die roll. And I'm glad that was put in, because I can already see people going nutty, like, oh, I want to wake up in the morning, let me roll. Oh, I want to, go take a leak, let me roll. No. And Heathen Dog hinted at this already earlier, but it's for decisions that affect the party, decisions that affect your character in an important manner.
Yeah. The other stuff like looking left, looking right, shining your flashlight in a particular corner. These are not things that are voted on.
Right.
Yeah.
Each character has stats, skills, stuff, and mates. Now, again, very similar to the Year Zero engine with the caveat of the mates. So each one of these is a set of dice. If you have 3 in stats, 2 in skills, 1 in stuff, you roll 6 dice, 3 + 2 + 1. So that's just a quick example. That's how you roll. But again, there's a caveat to that, because you can choose how many dice to roll, and we'll get to that later. Each of these things has a value attached to it, and I've already discussed that. Speaker can advise on what stats, skills, stuff, and mates are relevant in the situation, including allowing players to use skills not directly tied to the stat if it's narratively appropriate. So you can work with the speaker to say, hey, what was the one that skills, like, what was that speaking? That weird speak that train conductor had.
The megaphone diction or something like that.
Something like that.
Where you can be understood over a loudspeaker or a microphone of some kind. Yeah, but for example, skills or abilities that usually aren't allowed can be allowed under certain situations. The best example I always give is you're trying to pick a lock, but it's not working. Well, I'm just going to kick the door down. You're using a completely different stat for lock picking than what's normally used, but it's legitimate in that situation. Something that is a huge, glaring example, but it's along the same vein.
Now, maybe it's described
situationally appropriate. You can go off brand basically with your skills and stats.
Maybe it's described later.
Perhaps.
I'm not sure, but I want to mention it now in case I missed it because I'm not scrolling back. You can vote on no longer having votes.
I don't think that's ever been said anywhere.
It is written in the book.
It is written in the book? Okay.
Yep. You can vote on having a party leader. And in order to change that, you have a vote to change. But yes, so you can literally vote out or in anything relevant to the characters in the group. So I skipped the dice rolling part because, again, I already mentioned it. It's whatever the number of the ability stat, whatever is, that's how many dice you roll. However, once it's revealed and narrated, each player rolls his pool of dice in front of them. In addition, a number of dice equal to the party's anxiety are added together from a separate pool and rolled by the speaker. Anxiety is something we'll talk about in a moment, but essentially that's a negative thing for the group.
Yes, and this is supposed to increase as the game progresses because it's the speaker's job to increase tension, hopelessness, horror, and this is reflected in the anxiety rating of the party.
I equate it to the darkness between the stars from Coriolis.
I can see
that. Keep all of the dice separate. Look for the highest die result amongst the dice rolled, including the anxiety dice. If the highest result of all dice rolled is a 6, the party action has succeeded. Now, this is very Year Zero engine. Also a Degenesis, but Degenesis with 4, 5, 6. But in the dice rolling systems, if you roll the max, you get it. Now, on differences in Year Zero engine, 5s are nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is nothing. In this game, and this is what's taken from Powered by the Apocalypse to some degree, modified for this die rolling system. If the highest result of all the dice rolled is a 5, the party action partially succeeds, but at a cost.
Now, the best example for that, if you go back to the lock picking thing, you have lock picks, you go to pick the lock, you roll a 5, you open the lock, but you break the lock picks.
Yep.
That's a very clear example of a cost.
Or the door squeaks because you want to do it silently.
And you've alerted everyone on the other side.
Yep.
Stuff like that. But the clearest one is it now cost you an item because that item is now useless.
Yep.
But you still succeeded.
If the highest result of all the dice is 2 to 4, the action fails. If the highest results, basically if you roll all ones, you critically fail with severe.
Which is super hard to do, by the way. In this game. Super hard to do.
Not as hard if you're only rolling 2 dice. If you only have one skill of 1 and but right. Yes. The saltiness is palpable. Yeah, it is. For each one a player rolls on the stat die, he loses 1 point from the stat. So that's how you get into your stats injured in this game. Why would I want my free time and creative outlet to evolve around hopelessness? There are some games. No, that's actually a good question because honestly, there are some post-apocalyptic games that I think do this very well, and this one might be one of them. I like that hopelessness feel in some games as long as there's the light at the end of the tunnel to get around it. It's why I like Earth Dawn. Earth Dawn, if you really think about it, is kind of a hopeless world. Now, you really do join it after a lot of the hopelessness is gone, but it's pretty dangerous. If you played a Mad Max type role-playing game or a Conan role-playing game, what can you do? Hope to live and not die. I lived another day. Hooray! Mutant Year Zero, it's the same way.
Yeah, there are a whole lot of games out there that a win condition is waking up the next morning.
Right. Now, I don't like game. This is one of my issues with Borg, and I know Crafty said it's OSR, not YZE. I thought it still rolled the YZE dice, but perhaps I'm wrong on that one when I looked it over. But why in Morkborg you will ultimately fail, die. Now, how long you can live is kind of the fun of that one. I don't have an interest in a game like that usually. Would I play it? Sure. But it's not typically my cup of tea. But I can see the appeal, and I could see myself playing this game as like a break between the seriousness of a D&D or a Rifts or whatever. Okay, well, yeah, I'll move on here. So if Hench or Dash reaches 0, the character rolls on the bonk table. Yeah, this is one of the things that annoys me about certain games. I get it. You want to use weird words and you want to set the tone for the game, but there comes a point where
it just gets a little ridiculous.
Yeah. But in Heathen Dog's defense, and yes, I say Heathen Dog, This might be purely satirical and just another troll. In that case, you got me again because that annoyed me. So this represents physical injury. Think of it as the critical table. If noggin or bants, and of course bants is like your banter, your charisma, reaches 0, the character rolls on the stiff upper lip chart, which is like your emotional trauma. Oh, I guess it says right there, this represents mental emotional trauma. For each one a player rolls on the stuff die, that stuff is reduced by 1 point. Again, it just takes a die roll. It's effectively degrading it to the point of being broken.
If you remember from the train conductor, his megaphone, I believe, had a parenthetical 2. That means it basically has a toughness of 2. And every time you roll a 1 while using that, if it's on the stuff die, it decreases its toughness by 1. If it decreases twice, it's broken.
See, this is where Von Zark and I are going to kind of disagree. Twilight 2000 is very Conan-esque. There is no light at the end of the tunnel in that game. That game is very similar to this one if played right, where it's just the world at war and continues to be at war. White Wolf was not... I mean, I liked aspects of it, but honestly, I don't have the same opinion as you on that one. I'm not a huge fan of the White Wolf games. Like, well, I like how they come together, but I mean, but as all told, the only one I even remotely enjoyed was Mage. Oh, thank you. I didn't really like.
I think you would have liked Demon the Fallen.
I have Demon the Fallen.
I think you would have liked playing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like Inomine to me.
I didn't like Inomine. It was too easy to break. It was too. Yes,
that's true. But
game.
Complete different topic. But yeah, I mean, but most of the White Wolf stuff was just angsty. I mean, the only reason I like Mage, Heathen Dog. What was the only reason I like Mage? Do you remember?
Because I didn't play it all angsty bullshit. I played it legit. You know, you were real people and you awakened, and this is how real people would act. You don't have to immediately involve yourself in the socio-political nonsense that is White Wolf. You can try and chart your own path with people who have a like mind, and you don't have to fall into the tabletop LARP trap. So that's how I played it.
Twilight 2000 could have a light at the end of the tunnel if you played it that way. I mean, I don't know what it would be because it all goes into politics. Unless you just carved out your own little city. Like your little group of mercenaries just carves out its own little city and walls it off or something. But it's like Degenesis. No matter how good you think it is, you take 5 more steps and the world's crap again. You know?
Okay, hang on. We got to go back to this game now.
Yep, you're going back to this game. My wife keeps handing me stuff.
There are difficulty adjustments.
Yes.
I mean, we talked about what happens. What's a success? 6. What's a partial success? 5. Everything else is crap. Every time you roll a 1 for stats, you lose 1 of the relevant stat. Every time you roll a 1 for a stuff,
the item degrades.
It takes 1 away from the toughness of that stuff. If it goes to 0, it's broken. You can't use it anymore. If you roll a 1 in a skill die, well, you don't lose a skill point. Just that doesn't really do anything. But there is difficulty adjustment. I'll let you talk about the difficulty.
Well, difficulty. So what I want to say about what you're saying is, again, if you know, not everybody watching this video is going to know Year Zero Engine, but if you know Year Zero Engine, you're like, duh, this makes sense. But if you don't know it, this is just like the Year Zero Engine games and how what Heathen Dog just stated works. Adjusting difficulty levels, basically just the game. Sorry, what's it called? The speaker. The speaker can just say, this is a little bit tougher. You need to have 2 6s.
Or 2 5s.
Or 2 5s. You're right. You're right. Light level. Now, I don't know why this was put here. I really felt that it was out of place, but light level will also adjust difficulty rolls. See the light section. Well, why didn't you just leave it there and lights up?
I know. Why didn't you? The light sections later on, but this gives priority to batteries, juice.
Mm-hmm.
The juice stat is important because you are underground. Not all the lights are working, especially in between stations. It's dark. So if you don't have a flashlight, a lantern, or the juice to run either one of them, you are inherently doing everything in a more difficult situation.
To answer 2 things here, really what all Heathen Dog did was that he took out the goth and just made it real world 1990s-ish people.
Yes, I took out the Doc Martens and put in sneakers. Basically it.
And yeah, the setting sounds like Video Game Metro. That's what I said at the beginning of this. Somebody said Hellgate London, which might be more accurate. I'm not sure. And from what I hear, Year Zero Engine sounds good to me. I have a bunch of videos on the Year Zero Engine, and you've actually seen aspects of it when you looked at the first version of my RPG that I've since changed into something else, but with the D6 rolls. So you're probably more familiar with it than you think. But anyway, all right. So let's. I wanted to put a little time into this. So it's the responsibility of the speaker, based on the die roll, narrative situation, and the party actions, to narrate the result of the resolution roll. So something happens, the roll is made, and like a typical dungeon master, or in this case, speaker, the speaker narrates, or storyteller, narrates what the result of that is, how that pans out,
Yep.
and apply any additional consequences. Then transition the game to the next situation the party confronts. Now, this is actually not as whatever, let's skip verbiage, as it may sound. This is how the game plays. All right, we're done. Skip the mundane stuff. What's the next important thing? And we'll get to that in a little bit. I think Heathen Dog read a little bit more about that than I did for our conversation, but I might be wrong. But it doesn't say look up. It doesn't say be fair. It doesn't say anything. It just says apply any additional consequences. So when you roll that 5, the speaker gets to determine what that consequence is.
You don't get to say the speaker determines what the consequence is. Did the door squeak when you opened it and alerted everyone on the inside, or did your tool break opening the door? That's up to the speaker.
Now, or did you trip and fall in instead of?
Yeah, whatever. Now, what I didn't like is it did not specify what happens with higher difficulty things if you roll a 6 and a 5.
I would say that personally, yeah, I guess that's it. Well, okay, this is where Heathen Dog and I sometimes disagree about games and how they're written.
No, players are going to bitch about this.
Players listen to the game master.
Speaker.
The speaker is the ultimate authority. And you know what? If any of the new age people are like, no, everybody's equal. No, the speaker is the speaker with capital letters. That speaker speaks for the game.
I am the Metatron.
Right. I like it when games have openness like that and don't define everything, because that's one of the reasons why I don't like Pathfinder or 3rd edition D&D. Everything's an encyclopedia. Like on page 214 here. No, this gives me the luxury of saying, you know what, you got 1 6 and 1 5. I think that's good enough to say you got a full success. Or I got 1 6 and 1 5 that we're going to treat that because you didn't get the 2 6s. We're going to treat that like, I missed that chat. What was that?
That was the speaker of the house. I can't believe it took me this long to notice that. Yes, satire.
Yes.
Political satire. Yes.
You can do it, or you can do it. Well, I'm not going to give you as bad of a consequence because you did get 1 6. Again, that's way too much thinking about that right here. The book just leaves it open for the speaker to figure it out. And I personally do like that. I like that kind of openness that just says, here's how you kind of generally handle it, move on. Likewise, a resolution roll is used to resolve bypassing an entire area of dangerous hazards. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Let me go back up. Because this is important. Resolution rolls are intended to resolve entire scenes rather than individual minutia. For example, a resolution roll will decide the outcome of an entire combat for the party rather than individual back and forth blows. Very different from other games, but we haven't talked about yet how the roll system's done, and hopefully this will make a little more sense to you in how the rolling system is done. It's not done on a turn-by-turn basis. It's done, here's the scene, this is what you roll, move on. Likewise, a resolution roll is used to resolve bypassing an entire area of dangerous hazards or the entirety of a diplomatic negotiation between a group of aristocrats. Therefore, positive and negative results as well as consequences need to reflect this. It has to reflect the entire scene. What follows are some suggestions, hello grammar, on how to do this. Success. Double plus good. Let players have their successes in full. Yeah, that just makes sense. Partial success is still a success, and we've already kind of talked about this. Look, I don't have time to read the entire book to you, but you get it. Okay, good consequences for partial successes. Well, let's see what some of the examples are here. Party member suffers additional stat damage. A random event is rolled. Yeah, okay. I don't know if that those are pretty hefty.
The random events are no joke.
A party member loses or breaks one of the things. Ugh, I just said they. The party loses a party resource, but you see them right here.
Yeah.
Forced to stop and rest entering the Koch phase, so you can't even move on. But I think those are a little excessive, at least at the beginning. But remember, you're talking about an entire scene. So yeah, you beat the enemy, but you took some damage in the process. Now you need to rest. So it kind of does make sense.
Mhm.
Failure, ungood. Failure means the task is unsuccessful and something different must be attempted. All right. Ungood consequences. Somebody in the party is kidnapped. The party is separated. That can't be good. Party anxiety increases by 3.
Also, if this was a combat roll, everyone takes damage. Everyone suffers some kind of harm if a combat roll has failed, because throughout the entire fight, everyone got hurt and lost the fight.
It says all the party takes stat damage.
Yep.
Party loses all of one resource or multiple resources. Wow.
Yeah.
That anxiety, though, having 3 dice rolled against you, whew.
It's bad.
Critical failure. You've played games before. Critical failures are...
Critical failures also bollocks.
But it does say are statistically unlikely, which is true unless you have really low stats. But it's not even that, because you roll as the party, not as an individual. So maybe Heathen Dog, you are a little more right about that.
Yeah.
Ruck, situation where the party fights each other. So I'm guessing that's ruckus.
Yeah.
Other groups or individuals are referred to as ruck. So ruck is resolved in the same way as any resolution roll. However, the speaker may say the party requires more successes to succeed if the party is at some disadvantage, such as significantly outnumbered, has no guns, taking a knife to a gunfight.
Yep.
It's fighting a group or individual significantly better training equipment. You get the idea. Basically, if you're outnumbered, outgunned, or in a bad tactical situation, the speaker may say you need to get 2, 3, 4, 6s.
Yeah. Basically, if the Chrono Aristocrat is not on your team, which is very likely, there is a random event where you find the Chrono Aristocrat. And if you decide to fight him, I'm going to say you were at a significant disadvantage.
Yeah.
Because you're fighting the doctor. That's something you never, ever want to do.
Or the master.
Or the master, yeah. If you don't want to fight a Time Lord, you're a human being. You're at a significant
excuse me,
disadvantage.
Chrono Aristocrat.
Whatever.
If a character takes physical harm, he can roll a number of d6 equal to his armor value. Any 6s rolled reduce the harm by 1. Again, same.
I want to just say, if you remember, the Highlander has a kilt. It's considered an armor of 1.
Yep. Just
saying.
Again,
apparently, there are a lot of crotch shots, and he armored his kilt.
Indigo.
I don't know.
So it's just like the Year Zero engine. The party is surprised, and any rolls dealing with the situation surprised are at a +1 difficulty. So there's a scavenging roll. Now, I tried to relate this to, I did not have enough time to read through this. I just skimmed this part. Like when I say skim, like, oh, scavenging. Looks like something neat. I don't know if this is the same as Forbidden Lands, but I thought that Forbidden Lands had a really awesome something. I'm kind of plagiarizing, obviously, for my system, though, which is different. But I love the survival system of Forbidden Lands, and I think that this is going to be similar to that. So on a 6, you find things that you're searching for. Okay. So if you're looking for something specific,
yeah, you're looking for juice. You're looking for batteries. You're looking for a scram. You're looking for food, water. You're looking for a hatchet. You're looking for a wrench. Whatever. You roll a 6, you found it. Good job. Yep. A 5, you found it, but
it might be guarded. You might get poisoned.
Or a random event, or
it's not as good quality.
Whatever.
Let's say you were looking.
Decides what the ungood thing is from the previous chart. Yep. As an example, using the previous chart.
Yep, and you can fail.
Failing automatically creates a tunnel event.
Okay, yeah, that's what I went back to read, because again, I hadn't read this before. So wow, oh my God, I looked at some of those tunnel events again.
Tunnel events are no joke. Tunnel events are when you're traveling between 2 stations. You are literally on the train tracks, in the tunnel, in the dark. Shit gets real.
And using that Metro or Hellgate London reference that has been posted in chat, you know what we're talking about. It's like that demon's right around the corner. Okay, maybe not a demon in this game, but you get it. And this is if you fail, if you critically fail, you're surprised by the tunnel event. You better hope it's a good one.
It's not going to be.
All right, stuff. Your stuff is used. Oh God, your stuff can be used as part of an action if it's appropriate. Add the number of stuff dice. Okay, so we know that if you roll 1, the item loses, and it can break and be fixed by grabbing.
For example, if you want to talk to someone who's really far away, having a megaphone will help you.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Give you strict time records. In Shadow of Mogg, time is measured in bong.
Which are
hours.
the top of the hour for Big Ben.
Yes. The character can dimly hear these bongs echoing above him from the great bong in the sky. Yeah, I'm shaking my head too. Like, you can't see it. I wish you could see me on camera, but yeah. One bong is roughly, why is it roughly? If that clock is working, it better be pretty accurate, you know? Roughly equal to 1 hour. Party needs 8 bongs of rest. You know how to work time in RPGs. If not, get the book. If this is interesting, you get the book. I don't want to go through literally everything in the book. This is going to take too long. We're already on, what, an hour? Certain situations. Well, yeah, I was doing the technical difficulties at first, but yeah, certain situations may require the party to make a herd immunity roll. There's no COVID reference here, is there?
No.
Okay. These are typically situations where the party is passively trying to avoid a negative effect or situations such as disease, trauma, etc. This works the same as a resolution. The difference is that the roll is not voted on and dice are not bid. Did we skip the dice bidding part?
Well, that's
or is that later? Or is that later?
No. For group actions, like you're going to a fight, someone says, "Okay, I want to use my strength for the group roll. This guy over here has a truncheon. We're going to use that. That'll add to the dice."
Well, this is the part that's annoying because I think we skipped it accidentally.
We could have skipped it accidentally, but this game is not awesome with the order it gives things.
Because I know I read it.
The whole bidding thing is whose skill you're going to use, whose stuff you're going to use to augment this roll.
Sort of. No, it's a little different. It's a little different than that.
It's a little different. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. If you want to know exactly, you can read the book. It's fine.
It's a now it's stuck. It's a dice pool system. Maybe we'll get to it, but it's a dice pool system. And what happens is you determine. Let's say you get forced into doing something you don't want to do. You didn't want to fight,
but you got outvoted.
Now you have to fight. You can choose to only spend 1 die. Now the skill die must be max. But your attribute, stuff, and mates die, you could vote 0. Or not vote. You could just say, okay, I put in 0. And then once all the dice are there, they're tallied up, then the roll is made.
Yep.
So hopefully we get to that. Either that or if we missed it, well, that's the general overview right there. But again, you roll as the party and you bid your dice. And there's also a caveat, something about you must bid, I think, the equal number of attribute dice to skill dice or something like that. I got.
See, I didn't go into the technical minutia. I thought you would.
I got caught on that section, but I thought it was earlier, but maybe it's later. We'll find out. So anyway, if you're trying to avoid all that, if you roll a 6, obviously the party avoids 5. The party member with the lowest stat, and I love this. This is perfect. This is the right way to do this. The party member with the lowest stat being rolled suffers the harm. So if you're rolling against a disease, the one with the lowest constitution, what's it called? These again, would be the one to suffer. That just makes sense. Yeah. And I like that because I can't stand it when somebody's playing like Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, and everybody's got saving throws, but you just happen to be the guy that rolled the 1. Okay, really? So in this case, it just makes more sense. And you can see where it goes on from there. Reaction rolls, and the party meets another group or individual, or in response to the party interacting with another group or individual, a reaction roll is made to determine how the party reacts to the party as a whole, or how the other party reacts to this party as a whole. The speaker rolls a number of d6 equal to the combined sum of the current bance value of the party. Notice that's capitalized. That's important. The speaker rolls for your group.
Well, the speaker rolls the NPC's reaction to your group based on your combined band stat.
Right, correct. But it's your stats, but the speaker rolls it. Check the highest. If it's a 6, friendly. 5, protect yourselves. 2 to 4, they react hostilely, but they don't necessarily attack. And 1 is they just outright attack.
Yep.
All right. Improve current skills. You can choose any skill. Now, this is kind of like Chaosium-ish. You can choose any skill that you have bid this day. So you have to have bid it. Whether you passed or failed, roll a number of dice equal to the stat plus skill. So let's say hench plus, I don't know what all the skills are, but It's basically your attribute plus your skill. On a 6, you improve by 1. On 2 to 5, make no progress. On a 1, you lose. Let's do this again. On a 1, you lose 1 level in this skill. Basically, what you thought you learned was actually dumb. You do not take 2 wires that are connected to a power generator and stick them to your tongue.
But here's the thing. If it goes to 0, you've forgotten the skill. It's gone. It's gone. You can't use it anymore. It's gone. You have to learn a new one. You have to learn it again, which is next.
Learning a new skill. You also have to learn a new skill. You can either roll noggin or the associated stat. On a 6, you gain 1 level of skill, therefore you get the skill. On a 2 to 5, you don't learn how to use it. On a 1, you can never learn this skill. It is forever beyond you. Wow.
And all skills max out of 4.
Which I like. This is one of the problems with the Year Zero engine, is there's a bit of power creep in it. At some point,
light chart.
Yes, determine base light. Look, it's just modifiers for a game.
Easy. I mean, pitch dark, shadowy, dim, light.
You need 4 successes.
Yeah.
So you can figure this out.
Actually, no, that's 5.
Huh? Light level success dice needed. It said +4. Well, yeah, 5 total, but +4. You're right. Right.
Yep. You need 5 6s to succeed in the pitch dark.
Good luck with that.
Yep.
Party resources, again, this is taken directly from Year Zero engine. And I don't mean taken in a bad way. I actually like the Year Zero engine. Party resources are abstracted into a die value that ranges D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. So you have a D12 of an item. So let's say you have a D12 arrow. Sorry, I'm just too used to Forbidden Lands, so I'm gonna be doing this. You have a D12 of arrows. You roll that 12. If you get a 2 to a 12, you still have a D12 of arrows. You roll a 1, it drops down to a D10. Basically, each one has a higher chance of rolling a 1. When you roll a 1, it goes down by a die. If you hit a 1 on a D4, you're out. You must repopulate it. Okay? Gubbins. Gubbins are the most effective form of barter in the underground. Gubbins can also be used to repair weapons, armor, and equipment. Can usually be traded 1 for 1. For example, 1 Gubbins can be traded for 1 of any other resource. Resource is important because they take up line items on your character sheet. Scran
needs to eat.
Yep. Scran represents food and water. So if you paid 1 Gubbins for 1 food and water, you'd basically have, you'd lose 1 Gubbins, right? Yep. And you'd have a D4 Scran. If you buy 2, this is if you're starting from nothing. If you buy 2, you'll get rid of 2 Gubbins and you'll have 1, 2, so a D6 Scran. I think you can see how it goes from there.
Yep.
Slugs represent the party's reserved ammunition. That's actually the currency in Mutant Year Zero. And juice represents the party's fuel reserve. Meds represents the party's supply of vital medicine. These can be used during the Koch phase. Meds heal a character's hench or dash by 1 when used. Molly represents the party's supply of drugs and narcotics. Molly, go figure. This includes everything from alcohol to cigarettes to harder street drugs. Can be rolled to reduce the party's anxiety. You don't see where this is going, do you? Like, we got a lot of anxiety, man. I got the gout. Oh, I feel better. Anyway, trading resources, and you can trade same way you kind of buy and sell. You can just trade 1 for 1 or 2 for 1 or however you do it. Individual encumbrance. Each individual character may carry up to 10 items. That's a little different than Year Zero engine, but it's still the way it works with heavy, counting as 2. That's similar to that. A party, now here we go. This is what I wanted to actually spend a little more time on. The party carry weight is set by the combined encumbrance total of the value of all your resource die. Each resource die has a weight value based on the die as follows. A D4 has a weight value of 1. A D12 has a weight value of 5. So let's go look at the formula over here. If a party contains 5 party members, the party carry capacity is 10. It's party members times 2. So if you have 5 of all the resources we talked about up here, so we got Gubbins, Scran, Slugs, Meds, Mollies. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Mm-hmm. If you had D12 of all of that, you'd have 25. But if you're a party of 5 people, you only have a carrying capacity of 10. That would be some heavy encumbrance, huh?
Yep. You're not moving a whole lot. As a matter of fact, if you have certain, I forget how much over your party maximum carry weight, you can't move at all. You can actually move through the underground.
Yeah, I didn't read this part enough, so let's find out. This puts a party at 7 over its max. Makes them moderately encumbered. Does it say what moderately encumbered is? It does not.
It's later on.
Oh, does it? Okay.
I think it's under navigation.
Okay, so it affects the difficulty resolution rolls. So does that mean -7 or so? I mean, okay, yeah. So each individual over limit 12 further. Oh, each item an individual character has over the limit of 12 further adds 1 to the group. Where'd you get this 12 number from? I don't know where this 12 number came from. Did I miss something? Carrying capacity is 5 times 2 is 10. All right, well, we're just going to have to chalk that up to either a typo or I'm confused and just move on. If you want to understand it better, go buy the book. Also, I got to stop for a second. If you like what we're doing here, like, subscribe, and share. Hey, you like how I edited that? That looks pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah. So yeah, hey, if you like what we're doing, like, subscribe, and share. And now back to our segment 1. Anxiety roll. When making a party resolution roll, the speaker also rolls a number of anxiety dice equal to the party's current anxiety. These dice count. I can't read. Jesus. These dice count towards party success. However, if a 1 is rolled on an anxiety,
dice.
Yeah, you're right. On any anxiety dice, it should be died. See, that's what's throwing me off here. The singular of dice is die. God. If a 1 is rolled on any anxiety die, the action counts as a failure, and the party must roll on the party upper lip table,
which is the mental trauma table.
Yeah. Here's how you can reduce anxiety. Basically, take Molly or sleep. Party manifesto sheet. Here are the party laws. Long story short, this is what you've been voting on, or a lot of what you've been voting on. So, for example, the party may vote. Oh, here we go. Party. Yeah, so if you want to include party names, party resources, party encumbrance, so on and so forth. The party may vote that it will always feed the party member with the lowest hench first to prevent him from dying of starvation. Sure, makes sense. The party may vote that it will always fight Moggs on sight. And if it's in the party manifesto, it just happens.
Yep.
Always recruit children to the party. Party wishes to remove a law. It may do so, but it must remain a law for at least 1 day before it's voted to be removed. Right. Oh, here you go. A party can vote. See, I told you I read this. A party can vote to change the voting system entirely. For example, enacting a secret ballot-based system, letting party members under the age of 18 or even party horses vote. Don't ask me, would that just be the character doing it? Or would that be the speaker?
I don't know.
That's an interesting one. Like, how'd you, or to vote to reject democracy or even vote to reject democracy by, for example, declaring one. Is that, am I
yes,
not understanding?
That's a real sentence. Let me try it.
Okay.
Or even vote to reject democracy by, for example, declaring, it's missing a comma, declaring one player as the great party leader, comma, who now makes all the decisions.
Oh my God. Yeah. Thank you. Like I something.
Yeah. This thing is poorly edited. Yes.
Okay, navigating the tunnels. You got a navigation roll. This goes back to Forbidden Lands type stuff, except for it's underground. And this is what happens as you're navigating. I'm just going to kind of skim over some of this now. We've really talked this game, as far as I'm concerned, for one segment. At this point, you either like it or you don't. Koch activities, you can chill. Mindful meditation. This is how you get rid of anxiety. This is how you heal yourself and so forth. Here we go. Random tunnel events. Die roll D12, and it depends on where you are as to what happens. I see 11 on here a lot. So what's 11? Meat's back on the menu, boys. Come across a party of skin traders. Oh, that sounds healthy.
Oh yeah, it's great.
These denizens of the underground make a living in trading of a range of exotic meats, furs and pelts, from rat to dog to long pig. Long pig.
That was good. I like that when I read it as well.
Von Sark says vote for Mount. Wow. I think the apocalypse. Well, the apocalypse in this game they mentioned might just have been Brexit. Yes, he hates Brexit. He's the guy who wrote this, a BLM guy. You can tell he hates Brexit and so forth. It's somebody who in real life I would not get along with, but he has made a funny game, and I can't argue with that. So anyway, I'm not going to read through all that. That was on the screen long enough. You can pause it. But here are the random events tables. And pardon me for skipping through a lot of this, but I think it needs to be done. Koch phase procedure. Each party member eats scran. These are the steps in the phase. Who cannot... each party member eats scran. Those who cannot take hench and dash damage. So if you can't eat, you take damage. Spend
if you
gubbins.
get down to 0, you're
bonked.
Yeah. If you get down to 0, you're unconscious for at least an hour, and you have to roll on the bonk table, which is the physical trauma table. And you could die from that.
Spend gubbins to repair any party stuff. So remember, this is like your rest phase.
Yes, this is where you can repair things. This is where you can roll to increase or get a new skill. This is the time that all of this behind the scenes stuff can actually happen. You can't increase your skill during the day when your party is moving. You can only do things like this when you're resting.
All right, skip. That's been on there long enough. Navigation, vote on direction of travel and intended destination. I want to go here. Well, we voted. We're going that way. And no, you don't get to be like, well, I'm going to go my own way. Nope.
Unless you're the Highlander.
Unless you're the Highlander, right? You must do what the party votes on. Unless you're the Highlander. You stupid! I can't speak in a Scottish accent. Where's Garth on? Spend juice until the desired light level is reached. Like, yeah, you might want to vote on that. Like, do you want to spend the juice or not? And you can see the rest of them there. Voting procedure. Remember, this is a core concept of the game, so we're going to talk about this one. A character eligible to vote, which means age 18 or higher, makes a proposition. The proposition is discussed by the party. The speaker asks each party member in order to speak on it. The speaker asks each party member eligible to vote what his or her vote is in order. Each party member must either vote, abstain, or spoil his vote. Well, yeah, that's where you do the whole I vote for Snoopy thing, right?
Yep.
Each party mates.
I vote for the Green Party.
There you go. Party mates are included in the vote. They will usually side with the character they're following. Yeah, it makes sense. By the speaker's discretion.
Except the Chrono Aristocrat, because the mate is described as completely devoted.
Okay. That's interesting by the speaker. So if you actually wanted to give your NPCs, I wouldn't do this because I think it would take away from the game. You already have enough party interaction and so forth going on, but you could give your mates feelings.
Yeah.
If the vote receives a majority, then the voted for proposition happens. If not, a different proposition can be made. You cannot vote for the same proposition more than once in the same day. If this vote is to become party law, nice bold capitalized, note it down on the party manifesto sheet. If the voted proposition requires significant action, risk, or consequence to resolve, make a party resolution. It's right out of Monty Python.
Yeah,
have alcohol poisoning sounds Scottish.
This part is all the satire. This is what grinds the game down, but it's meant to.
It's
supposed to. This is the problem with a true democracy.
Mob rule. Straight up mob rule.
Straight up mob. Here's the problem. You get a large enough sample of people, you have a bell curve. Stupid people, average intelligence people, which are the most of, and then the truly intelligent people. The problem is you have average people and stupid people voting on very important things that you only want really intelligent people voting on. They're going to sway the vote to something stupid. Invariably. That's why we have a representative democracy. We vote for a person to have our votes. And hopefully we voted a smart person.
Well, apparently he did not like the way Mogg voted.
Yeah, this author does not like the idea of the popular vote. He believes that the popular vote is stupid because there's only a small percent of the population that is knowledgeably informed on many subjects, let alone any particular subject. And so I wouldn't want to hear their opinion on it anyway. Like Kanye West. Amazing musician. Anything else he has to come out of his mouth, I don't want to hear.
All right,
his idea of what to put on a hot dog, I don't want to hear it.
He's not a chef.
Yeah, you're not a chef, dude. Shut up. But in 100% democracy, he gets to vote what's on a hot dog, even if he says it should be chili and chocolate sauce. okay, he gets his vote.
And if he's in this group, he can make you eat that hot dog.
Yeah. So there you go.
Oh, here's the encumbrance table. Okay, I see it. 0 oh wow, stops per day. Okay, travel. Oh Jesus.
Oh no, the encumbrance table. Here's the encumbrance table.
Yeah, that's. And if you're heavily encumbered, all of a sudden your dice rolls are modified. Okay, I get it. So if you're heavily encumbered,
you need one more success. Yeah. See this is the party encumbrance. If you're unencumbered, you can move up to 8 different railway stops per day. But the more encumbered you are, the least amount of stops you can take, and the more bongs it takes to get to each stop, until if you are 12 or more over your total party encumbrance, you can't move at all. At all. So you better eat some food and lighten the load a little bit.
All right, when your noggin and bants get to 0,
yep,
you roll on this chart. And let's just say you roll a 3, because that's okay. No, I'm going to roll my die. Hold on. I rolled a 4. Wobbly upper lip. Well, that's better than a trembling upper lip. I like that. All the upper lips quivering. I didn't notice that before. Quivering upper lip, stiff. Okay. So wobbly upper lip. Characters, max noggin and bants are reduced by 1. Oh.
That's bad.
The character, that should be an apostrophe in between the R and the.
Let it go, man. That's everyone. That's everyone in the party loses not only their max noggin and bants, but
this is if somebody goes to 0.
Yeah. If someone in the party goes to 0,
not everyone suffers this.
Not everyone. Okay. Well, if it was a whole party resolution and all of the party gets injured.
Yes. Then yes.
Then yeah, then everyone gets it. But it can heal it. You can heal it. If you have a Molly or 24 hours of uninterrupted cool rest, you can heal that.
All right, let's roll on the bonk table. I can never remember if that's a 6 or a 1.
Say it's a 1.
Say it's a 1. Okay, 1 is a fatal bonk. You've kicked the bucket. Your character's deceased and out of the game. Heal, nothing. Your character has ceased to be. He is an X character.
Yeah. So if you're hench or what's the agility one? I'm blanking.
Well, dash.
Dash. If you're hench or dash, go to 0. You have to roll on the bonk chart, and if you roll a 1, you die. If you don't eat during the rest phase of a day, and your hench goes to 0, you got to roll on the bonk chart. You roll a 1, you die.
Oh, here's the party upper lip table.
Yes, that's the next one. This is the mental one.
Give me a modifier from 1 to 3.
2.
2. Okay, 2 plus 2 is 4. So everyone's lips are a tad twitchy. Party's anxiety increases by 1. All right, so there you go. It's all gone. It's all gone. Pete Tong. I don't know what Pete Tong is. The party disbands and scatters to the winds. Game over, old chap. Oh, that's awesome. You get a thumbs up from me, sir, for this. We might not agree with each other in real life, but I think I have to say that I'm gonna backtrack on what I was gonna actually say about this game, and I think I agree with Heathen Dog now. This game is more. God damn it! I just spilled. This game is more satire than
SJW. I mean, it still has SJW elements because that's just the writer's personal. Well, the writer's personality bleeding through. But this was obviously written in anger. Because
but all comedic anger
of this game are debilitating toward players and speaker alike.
Comedic anger, though.
Yes. Again, humor is injected into this game. Both dark and light humor is injected into this game, and that is something. That is something.
I'm going to be sticky and not in the good way until this stream is over. I just spilled. I have a cup with a cover on it, and yet I still found a way of spilling.
Yep. Okay, and if you are not British, if you scroll up a little bit, you'll see the Britbong game translations.
Wow. Pete Tong wrong, Her Majesty the Queen. Wow. So there you go. Yep. I wish we wouldn't have missed that die roll. I really thought that was important. It's too. I'm streaming. I'll have to wait till I'm done. I cleaned up most of it.
That's fine. But there's also a map that you can see of the underground.
Sorry, I was talking about, you can't see me on screen. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Map of the Underground, party manifesto sheet, who you are, and so forth. Nice, simple character sheet. There's a lot. If this game is not your cup of tea, kind of like mine, I keep saying that, but maybe it's because it's a British game. I can understand that. It's not mine, but I wouldn't be opposed to playing it.
No.
If Heathen Dog were to run it,
if everyone understands what this game is about, if everyone understands that this is satire against a 100% democracy, against the idea of a popular vote, then this game can be understood in that light, and you can have fun doing it. You can.
Yep.
But if you don't have the inclination, or you just don't want to, then man, you can't say it's a bad game. You just have to say it's not for you.
Not for you, yeah. So where can you get this game? Shadow of Mogg. Let me zoom in here. By Manic Productions. It's at manicproductions.co.uk. And I want to find, oh no, I think it's back in the book.
What?
When he talks about copyright. Shadow of Mogg is a work of parody in a reference to the truth is coincidental. Copyright. Okay, copyright is a capitalist brain drain psyop on the working class. Steal this game. It's right there.
Right there, page 94, very bottom. So, steal the game. The writer says steal it.
Yeah. There you go. Hopefully you can see that. Starting right here. Copyright is a capitalist brain drain psyop on the working class. Steal the game.
Which is not true, but
okay, it's his game. If he, you know what? If I steal it and somebody tries to get mad at me, be like, said it right there. By the way, the person who wrote it. I want to give a little quick. I'm going to do this real quickly. Just a little history of my interaction with this person. Where'd he go? Did they take him off in one day? Okay, why can't I find it? Like I just saw him here yesterday.
Is this the Modifius lineup?
Yeah. Oh, here he is. This is the guy who created the game.
Okay.
Right here. Now it doesn't matter. I'm not saying like, oh, good, bad, or whether. But the reason why I'm here on the Modifius site is because I was like, this name sounds familiar to me. Mostly because, like, I mean, it's not the most common name in the world. And I'm like, I talked to somebody with this name a couple of years ago. And I did I did a search in my email. Come to find out he worked. He just recently left Modifius to start his own company. But I was like, this person sent me an email. Hopefully I'm not doxing myself here. Probably not. So, hey, this is Legion Myth site. My name's Panny. I work for PR Modifius. Blah, blah, blah. There you go, right? But this is the part. He said, as my colleague noted, we can't unfortunately offer you copies of Mutant Year Zero and Coriolis. However, we could offer you a promo copy of Mutant Chronicles. My response, I'd be very thankful and appreciative of Mutant Chronicles. Guess what I never received?
Copy of Mutant Chronicles. A promo copy of Mutant Chronicles.
Yeah. It was the first thing that made me angry with Modifius, and it's gone downhill from there. so as anybody who watches these streams or videos on the regular knows, I'm no fan of Modifius Entertainment at all. But do love, well, although Free League is sliding too. Sigh. But there we go. That's I just want to show that I actually had a little history with it. I wonder if that's how he sent Legion Myth an email, or if you saw a stream or whatever. But anyway, when I first looked at the game, I was kind of like, ugh. All right, you know what? We said we are going to do it. You need a copy of their Eternal Hatred. Well, from Modifius, I don't care. This guy, I don't think we beat on his game. I was going to. I was set up to beat up this game. I was ready to do one of my rants, even though you can't see me. Between reading it a little bit closer and Heathen Dog and the way you guys were talking in chat, yeah, I kind of was turned around. Yep. It's one of would I go out and buy it? No. And it's not because I despise it. I just wouldn't buy it because I don't play games like this. Yeah. It's just not my thing.
This is a really good convention game.
Yes.
4 hours, do this thing. You have a simple thing like make make 8 stops. Successfully complete 8 stops, and you'll win this 4-hour convention, game session.